Next up, I'm really excited to hear this presentation. Justin Durner from ARS and Jeff Wahlert, a rancher that he partners with.
Well, thanks, Emily, for the introduction. Jeff and I, we're going to make it even more complex. For 5 minutes, we're going to split the duties back and forth, so we'll see if we can get it done. We're going to talk about a project here that started in 2012. Emily was part of it that got started. We've got a lot of data we're going to showcase, and we have a lot of stakeholders and other scientists in the room here, so if there's questions, they'll be here to handle it. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff, and we'll get started.
I'm Jeff Wahlert. I'm a rancher. I run some yearlings out there in Weld County, and part of my steers go on this CARM experiment we're doing at the experiment station over at the car.
So in this system, as Jeff ranches in, it's highly variable in terms of precipitation, forage variability. One of the questions we want to help answer is how can we help match that animal demand with that increasing forage availability? It really is quite variable. So that's one of the major goals.
And as a rancher, I'm committed to trying to get the most value out of my beef cattle and raise the best beef we can on the shortgrass prairies there.
One of the things we've tried to manage the mill with our moderate stocking has resulted over the long term of not having those habitats at the low and high structure vegetation, resulting in some grassland bird species of concern issues for this project.
There's the management strategies we use for these objectives are to get the economical benefit out of the beef, to sustain the grass in the meantime as grazing it, and the birds and the wildlife that go along with it. It's kind of a collaborative effort to make it all work.
So again, this is a collaborative effort. It's really novel. It involves co-production of research. It's management and science working together at the real world, at the scale of the ranch.
Working with scientists, we've done a lot of things to make this CARM project work, and we'll move those cattle across these pastures at different times to make sure it works with the adaptability to adapt to the variability of the weather and the ecological sites.
So we have a lot of scientists, many in the room. We have ecologists, rangeland scientists, economics, social ecological systems ecologists, as well as hydrologists.
There's 3 different backgrounds of our stakeholder group, and I was actually chosen because Whaler's the last in alphabetical order. I drew the short straw.
So essentially we started this in 2012. We have 2 grazing treatments, a season-long traditional control, and the 1 large herd that's adaptively moved across 10 pastures on the landscape, and we've planned to do this for 10 years.
There's 4 main objectives to this. It's the vegetation, the profitable ranching operations, the wildlife, and the collaborative learning. And hopefully together, everybody, we can make those things come together.
We have a lot of monitoring data here on the 20 pastures outlined in yellow and blue. Today we're going to focus primarily on the livestock side for weight gains as well as diet fecal quality of those animals.
The gains on these livestock have been consistently 12 to 16% less on the CARM project compared to the traditional traditional herd we've used on the same project.
And that tenfold stocking density resulted in those animals having intense competition for forage, and as a result, lower forage quality as reflected in their dietary quality throughout the season.
We've done several patch burns in the last couple of falls. There haven't been too big areas, but we've done that to increase the forage quality for the cattle in the spring and the vegetation structure for the nesting birds.
We've also been able through this project, through some intermediate stocking densities, to actually ascertain what the contribution of this group is to adaptive management for livestock gain. 0.2 to 0.6 pounds per head per day because of this adaptive management.
Some of the adaptive decision making we've done is one is to move cattle through in September into salt brush country to graze that off and increase the gains on these cattle when they need it the most in the middle of summer.
Some new decisions coming up in 2020 because of the data we showcase is that we're going to reduce the stocking density early in the grazing season to try and enhance livestock gains at that time.
Another one of the things we're going to do this summer is we're going to split that calm herd in half in the middle of summer into 2 smaller herds, and that will hopefully take some of the pressure off those grasses in the middle of summer when the growing season is shorter and hotter.
And with that, I would invite those that are involved in the CARM stakeholder group and the scientists in the room with us. Please stand up and be acknowledged. You see the logos and the fantastic group associated here, so please stand. And Jeff will be happy to take 2 questions.
He's a professional.
Question in the back. We'll wait for the mic. There we go.
I can just use my outvoice voice. I'm hearing you're monitoring these livestock production parameters. What are the other parameters, such as plant communities, soil health, and those sort of things that you're looking at?
Great. If you want more information, David Augustine's sitting over here, but we're doing all kinds of plant cover, plant species composition, density, biomass, residual biomass. We're doing soil health measurements, a whole suite of ecosystem goods and services on that. So a very intense monitoring project. We're spending a lot of resources on that. We'll come to some of our other presentations or visit with David and myself and we can clue you in on what we're doing. Awesome. Well, we only got one, Jeff. You made it. All right. Thank you very much.